Been a little humor prior to 99. Welcome to 99 Ain't Good Enough where we keep it 100. Myself, Mr. Mental Money. But I now have a new nickname by my custodians here, Mr. Dacquaret Duncan and Coach Tommy Jones.
Yes, sir.
For whatever reason, I've been established a new nickname, Silver Throat.
It's money.
It's money.
It's
Man,
not silver tongue.
Look here, Silver Throat. It's coming from deep.
It's coming from deep.
Silver Throat. So,
Boy, Barry would be proud if he was still.
Man. Hey, Barry was my guy. Hey, there's something wrong with me. But let's get on task, man. Let's get on task, man. Today's topic, we're going to transition in, and we want to touch on a little bit about the history of the melanin, a little bit of history about black, a little bit of history about. There's a guy that we celebrate in so many different aspects and arenas of life, in Dr. Martin Luther King, and I think this is a great platform for us to be able to touch on it. And somebody that's been very significant in history, very significant in each one of our lives. And we want to touch on, Dr. Martin Luther King just a little bit, and in a lot of our, black leaders. So that's what today's topic about, and that's what we're going to be touching on.
Yeah, Dr. King, I feel like there's still a lot not known about him. Like, I recently discovered his birth name, which was not Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther the King.
Yeah, it wasn't Martin Luther the King.
Martin Luther the King.
I forget what it was. I think it was like Michael something,
Right.
But I'm always closely associate Dr. King's holiday with my grandma's birthday. His birthday, he got killed April 4th. My grandma's birthday was April 3rd.
Right.
So that's how I always, but he died years before I was born. I think 1968 they got him. And he's just been a huge influence. Even today. I remember growing up, there was no MLK holiday.
No.
I don't think we got out of school in the 90s for MLK Day.
No way. No. Do you remember when what is MLK, the road now used to be Buffalo.
Yes.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
And then when it was changed to MLK, man, it was people raising all kind of ruckus and shooting the signs and all kind of
And I don't know if that was the mid-'80s when they changed it.
I don't
Maybe
remember.
late 80s.
I don't remember exactly.
I don't vividly remember. I do remember when it happened because it was some hoopla, about it.
Right.
Rightfully so. But, it just takes time for people to just get acclimated to change.
Yeah.
I mean, give somebody, that's significant. And I'll be honest with you, like my memories of Martin Luther King and being raised by someone that was, part of the civil rights movement and all that was sitting there on those particular days just listening to a lot of the speeches. Mm-hmm. Not identifying certain things that was going on, but I knew the agenda. I knew the agenda was to, try to liberate us. I knew the agenda was try to eliminate segregation and, stuff like that. So that's what it was, for me that I could, vividly remember. And I'll be, honest, I'm not the biggest fan of, turning the other cheek because I think a lot of that was given to us, by our president in a sense. There's a certain level of protection you have to be able to do, but he did a great and astounding job of just getting our attention, getting the powers that be attention to bring, more unity, within black, white, green, different demographics, socioeconomic levels. That's what I can remember, as a kid.
Well, some of that came on the with the little Gandhi thing too. He was going in that direction. It's funny you say that because I was thinking today, and just for another day, I'm a Malcolm guy, Malcolm X guy, and where he came from and what he went through and everything. But I always respected Dr. King because any man that, when you know the things you're trying to do and the things you're trying to teach, when you know that's going to cause stress, strife, take your life of you or your family, I have to give you respect. I have to understand that you're doing something that not the average man going to do or can do.
Laid it all on the line.
Yeah.
Literally. I'm not sure, but I was told by older members of my family that in the beginning he was more Malcolm.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like,
that's what I'm saying. He kind of went toward the Gandhi thing.
Yeah, that which is tough.
Yeah,
like to be sitting at the lunch counter, somebody pour a drink on you, somebody spit on you, and not respond. That's tough.
Listen,
that's a Zen like spirituality and
that's what that
and
is.
personality to even think that way. When there's fisticuffs, it's typically pressure versus pressure. You know what I'm saying? You hit me, my natural instincts is to hit back.
Yep.
So certain things that you learn. But it's like, okay, I'm I'm traumatized by this experience, but I'm supposed to be able to stay even keeled.
Yeah.
Which, speaks volumes.
Speaks volumes. That's a hell of a man.
And I think when my grandma used to say, him and Malcolm, just different.
That's all.
And her
it's
favorite
not
line
to be pitted against the
Yeah,
other.
her favorite line was like, no better, no worse, just different.
That's it.
By any
That's
means
all.
necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
versus
this whole thing, man. Every time the day come around, I'm gonna take y'all back a little bit for a minute. It takes me around a lot of things because I know with my parents being older,
Right.
and I would always ask questions about when they were coming up. You talking about Georgia? You know what I'm saying? 37, 41. Through the years of things, and some of the things they said, I thought I would never see this. I thought I'd never see that. My mom was telling me she grew up a sharecropper. And I was like, sharecropper? I read about that in a book.
Right.
She said, then I started reading the book because she going to tell me. She was kind of funny because she was like, there wasn't much sharing going on.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? She said, wasn't much sharing going on.
No.
But she tell the stories. And I would ask her, now this would come in where you saying with Malcolm and Dr. King. I say, well, let me ask you this. All these things happen. Why you haven't raised me to hate? Which is amazing to me. You haven't taught me to hate. You know what I'm saying? You just taught me about what Christ wants, how you love, da-da-da-da-da. And I said, so that's amazing in itself. And so that makes me look at this guy, and like you said, that had to be a spiritual type of thing.
Absolutely.
When that time, and you not hating, and you trying to spread love, and you trying to talk to all people.
That's tough.
That's a hell of a guy, man.
I mean, with everything that's going on in today's society, today's world, and that has happened, and you see the angst and the anger and the vibration, of people, and how there's a confused admiration towards one populace, and you look at a certain level of what's happening in the judicial system, knowing at the end of the day, we still now have rights. So part of just to piggyback what you're saying, Coach, is we've been conditioned and taught to be able to love because we've always been able to deal, bounce back, persevere, and all that, which can be difficult in itself. And that's why I said I wasn't more of a proponent of that turn the other cheek, because at the end of the day, it's so much. We can go through the history of America and know that there's so much stuff that has been taken through the fisticuffs, through the level of physicality, through the level killing, shooting, looting or whatever it may be. So it kind of comes into play where we're looking at these powerful leaders, and you take Malcolm, I think they all study each other. When you go, you can touch on Marcus Garvey, you can touch on different things that are going on, which now puts us here today, and it allows us to be able to see the disparity from then, till it is now. And it's been a big improvement, but a lot of it still go on. We could talk about colonization, systematic racism, dealing with different things that has happened to be able to put it in the forefront. And I think if Dr. Martin Luther King was here today, I think he'll have some level of gratification towards where we are, but he'll also know that it's still a long ways to go.
Long way to go.
I also think, obviously, my grandma raised me. She was born in 1912. So when Dr. King died, he died in 58. So she was 46 years old. And I remember her always telling this story. And I'm not sure if they were here or if her and some of her white friends went like North Carolina. I can't remember. Mm-hmm. But when it came across the waves that he died or whatever, she went outside and she started crying.
I know it touched her. I know it
touched her.
Yeah.
So one of her friends came out and was kind of like, hey, why are you crying? This and that or whatever. And then she said like more people started coming out. And she said she even felt like she couldn't even tell what she was crying about.
Right.
So she made up, I stumped my foot, blah, blah, blah. But she said what really stuck with her was like one of her friends had like this incredulous look, like almost as says, I know that's not what you crying about. Yeah. That she said that's what she felt like. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That, somebody had the audacity to be mad at her because she had the audacity to be mad about Dr. King dying. Yeah. And she used to always tell that story. And it would upset her. Yeah. And I can imagine being in that moment, you want to express yourself, but then somebody being kind of dismissive about what's going on.
Well, when you look at this day and the man, and it's like, I always think to myself, man, I will always try to carry myself and teach and the next one and make things a little better than, we still got a long way to go, right. For sure. But we can continue to make things better by following some of that legacy from all of them. You know what I mean? But again, man, what kind of guy is that, man, that you know you putting yourself in harm's way, and yet you still do that? That's something else, man.
That's a real one.
Set the
that's a
stage
real
for
one.
us to be able to do this.
To do it right, and you talking about selfless, and you talking about the full autonomy of a human being to have a vision and to literally go out there, and it didn't matter at what cost.
Yeah. And then, not only that, from this aspect, and I ain't gonna say it's easy.
Yeah.
I could carry that a little better if I was a single man.
Yeah.
He had a wife and kids to think
That's
about.
what I'm talking about. You
it's
putting
like-
them in harm's way.
That's tough.
And he thought about, you know what I mean, just literally just what when you have that, when you literally have that passion and that gift, because he was anointed, you know,
He was
to be able to
anointed,
speak
without a doubt.
at the way he, the way he did, but like, and Coach just, to say it, I mean, we have to have just a sense of more pride,
Yes,
in regards to how we carry ourselves and what we do,
yes,
or our level of teaching.
Yes,
I'm not the biggest fan of the word humility, so to speak, because I think, well, I'll say humbleness, should I say?
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of
sometimes
times
when I hear
you have to scale yourself down to commit to someone else, but have a level of humility to be able to assist and move your ego out the way and all that, especially if it's somebody that come from the same walk of life that you come from.
Yeah, I smirk sometimes. You'll see these programs and they'll talk about, oh, he was doing this and
programs or programs.
That's a Tampa thing, man.
The programs. But that he was doing this, and they want to. Everybody looking for some dirt, and he wasn't no saint and all. Ain't nobody a saint.
Ain't
nobody a saint. But listen, when you start putting yourself out there for the good of everybody, I mean everybody, even the ones that persecuting you, even
that's
I
tough.
don't care what you can't tell me too much bad about that person.
And speaking of persecution, and we know, this man put it all on the line on behalf of for a lot of us to be here today to see what we see. Yeah. And I think the transitional phase, of that, I think we want to touch on is let's talk about the economic prowess and strength of sports and the demographics of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To see a level of unity. I mean, we can say there's, not enough of us at the top, but when it comes down to who's controlling and pushing the pop culture and all that, it's definitely, somebody of the melanated race. So, when you look at basketball and you see 82%, in the league.
Yeah.
Shoot, how many 40, 50 years ago or 60 years ago we couldn't be on the same court at the same time.
No, and that's man, you throw the number out there and everybody like that was a long time.
That's not that long ago.
No, it really
Listen,
wasn't.
the people that were raising hell then and causing problems, they're still here.
Yeah.
Now hopefully they've had a change of heart. Hopefully,
right.
What I mean, something been put on their heart, but they're still here because we here.
We still here.
You know what I mean?
Because I have an uncle who's 60, and he went to a segregated elementary school.
Yeah.
60?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think they only segregated in Hillsborough County in 71.
Yeah.
That's not that long ago.
No.
Wow.
No. Listen, man, y'all ever seen the whites only, black only bathrooms?
I've never seen one.
On film.
I've seen them in person.
Right.
Now I'm older than y'all.
Yeah.
I've seen them in person, so it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, when you watch some of the advances, I remember there wasn't no black coaches.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I think Bill Russell was a player coach, so that was a big situation then.
Big deal.
Then I remember when we were talking about basketball, I remember
Al
Adams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Lenny Wilkins.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you start seeing them. But
Lenny light skinned though, so.
He do got a different.
Lenny from up there in New York. There's no telling what Lenny is. No, I'm just joking.
But I think he do rep. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. And then Casey Jones in the 80s.
Yeah.
And it was something interesting that we touched on. Older guys, probably Coach Jones' age, they were Celtic fans. Yeah, I gotta be careful. They were Celtic fans. Because
we just said that ain't long ago, so he ain't that old.
Yeah, Coach ain't that old.
He ain't that old. No,
they were Celtic fans. The older guys, they would be Celtic fans.
Yeah.
Where the contrast was when we grew up in the 80s, if you a brother, you like the Lakers or the Sixers.
That's it.
But then that was astounding to me. Like even now when Paul Pierce and Kevin, then 20-something years later, now everybody back, all the brothers back to being Celtic fans. Yeah. Especially with the racial component that goes on in Boston. Yeah. That's amazing to me.
Well, Red Auerbach was the one drafting the brothers in there and bringing the. I want to say the first black player. I'm not positive in the NBA. Red Auerbach, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he started a lot of that stuff, and I used to be like, man, why does Bill Russell love this dude?
He
so
loves
much?
some Red Auerbach.
He loved Red Auerbach, and then I started reading up a little bit on it. I was like, oh, I understand.
My new, memory I can remember concerning Boston Celtics or Red Auerbach is I think Red Auerbach was, probably ahead of, his time because he's seen the landscape changing just from a player standpoint.
Yeah.
And let's call it, how it is from a level of athleticism, you know what I'm saying, to be able to stop and go, run fast, do this. There's a gene pool that's born that way. So when you're seeing it, you want to be able to make it more entertaining. He was like, you know what? I'm going to care more about your humanity and putting this man in position as I'm going to care about this racial divide.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And I'm sure him being Jewish back in that day, they had a level of persecution in America that he went through as well. So he could probably identify a little bit.
But then, we go on to football, you know what I mean? And shoot, man, it wasn't too long ago. Wasn't that many black dudes playing in the SEC in football?
No.
Now, you know what I mean? Or basketball.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, it's still the undercurrent, and Gator fans probably go kill me for this. And Coach Jones is a graduate of the University of Florida. And again, this is in my mind. I don't think
campaigning that's Gators now.
They love this is Gator country. That's why the big work off. That's why I'm prefacing all this, the preamble. Like
preface good now.
I don't think there'll ever be a black head football coach in Gainesville. I don't think there'll ever be a black head football coach in Tuscaloosa. I could be wrong.
That was a long time.
Yeah, that's why I said it, because I meant it.
But if you, I mean, that's not. I can't say you're far off. I'm not going to use the never word, but I can look at the ratio and the capacity.
He said ever.
I said ever.
Oh, ever.
Yeah.
Ever. Yes. Okay. Well, ever. We're gonna say ever, which is another thing.
Yeah. Yes.
That he's literally has acknowledged that he's a bad man on that. But I think when we look at the racial, divide of, kind of just seeing, if we look at, and I wish I had the numbers in front of me, but if you take, 300 plus Division I schools, you know what I mean, in the country, I mean, we probably got
football. What you mean, football?
For football.
I don't think it's that many.
Yes,
well, one double A,
yeah,
you counting?
Yeah, you count, yes.
So, I'm just counting like big time college football. So 117, 120.
Let's say,
right.
It's you're looking at less than 5% at the helm. You know what I'm saying, of the melanated shade, and that has a lot to do with just a few different things. True. You trust the people at the helm. I mean, just being able to take somebody and do a expoundedly good job in doing that. But we know who's running the show in some of these other places.
Yeah.
To get certain things done, and say, oh, I'm going to hire Dr. Red Duncan to come be our next head football coach.
Right.
Should be more about X and O's and less about what he looked like.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the world we in.
Now I'm easy on the eyes, so that's. I mean,
I can't agree with that.
I mean, we got haters everywhere.
Once my son became a little older, I mean, I used to think every man is not attractive.
No,
that's the straightest answer you can get. When you're straight, you're straight. You feel me?
But what I do think is funny though is like we were talking about Colorado and Darian Hagan the other day.
Right.
Some people probably didn't recognize his name. I probably should have said his running back was Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah.
So I remember Eric Bieniemy. I think he's a Cali guy, but he went to Colorado. Mm-hmm. I know he got into like some trouble, air quotes. He might have got suspended for a game or two at Colorado in the 90s. They're bringing that up in relation to him becoming the head coach in 2020.
See, that's what we still got. That's why we still say it's a long way to go.
Oh, he's on everybody. Oh, Eric Bieniemy, he's a coordinator that's on everybody. But he still doesn't have a head coach. Or maybe he does. But he's still not a head coach.
Let's do this without sounding like we're complaining. Being three melanated men here, and I don't use the black term because black is an adjective that describes it now. I don't use that in regards to describing our people.
Boy,
so you like that? Boy, I knew it was coming.
I love when he talk like that. Boy, silver throat laying down like that.
I knew it was coming.
Go ahead, look at him. I'm over here like.
Yeah, I know it's coming.
I don't characterize us in that manner. But let's do this when we talking about the difference in the 90s. I got in trouble. Well, we already know, and we can commit to this just based on the amount of time we've been on this earth.
Right.
We gotta be twice as good to go half as far. right? So if we take a guy like Steve Sarkisian, who's landed a job in one of the best programs in the country.
He landed a job with the richest,
like outside of Notre Dame.
Like I said before, who has more money than Texas?
But
Texas football, who has more money?
No.
And that's what you get rewarded with after being irresponsible, being a drunk. You go to the Nick Saban School of Coaching. You get chewed out a couple times on TV. Now you right back in the fold.
Texas is a different place. They also try to secede from the nation. So
right.
But again, I want the audience to understand what we're getting at. We want you to be just as forgiving to them as you are to us.
And I don't call it complaining. I'm just pointing some stuff out.
No, you're definitely not complaining.
Well, and that's what happens. It gets put down. Oh, why are you complaining? You got it so good. No, if I ain't got it, if me and you ain't walking in the same yard,
right?
It ain't complaining.
There's a guy, and I don't watch as much NFL football.
He will be a head coach.
Oh, he will be.
Yeah, he will be.
He will be.
There's a guy, I forget, he's a younger coach, or he was up for a head coaching job. One of his bullet points was friend of Sean McVay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But one of the oldest saying in the world is who you know.
Yeah. Oh, which I'm a huge. I've
that
been.
ain't gonna never change.
Yeah. I'm a huge. I get. I totally get that. But friend of Sean McVay.
Yeah.
But what happens at the highest level of any accreditation, any monetized institution?
Right.
What is it called? Nepotism.
Yeah.
But listen, I got a nice discount at a place for some ties because I said I knew you.
True indeed.
we knew the Black Ferris Bueller.
I mean, that's a shameless plug. Dak Duncan, a.k.a. the mayor, a.k.a. Mr. 33606, a.k.a. Mr. High Park, a.k.a. the Black Ferris Bueller. But I'm not here for that.
We gonna name drop.
I'm the biggest name drop ever. So I get it as a concept.
Listen, y'all coming with all them names. That young fella, that silver throat, right?
That's it.
See, Coach nipped it all in the bowl.
Yeah, he always put a bow
back in.
Put a bow on.
Bring it on back in. Okay, here you go. Now look. We going a little off to the left.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Going a little off to the left. But you just, let's not get away from just the transitional phase of Dr. Martin Luther King and I think what we see now, you know what I'm saying, in sports and in society. You know what I mean? Look at what it's done for our queens and our women.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the places that they are in now. Look at, from whether we talking about a WNBA in a league, you know what I mean, in the midst of that.
That's something I never thought I would see.
Yeah.
Not in America. I never thought it would be like a viable thing.
Well, listen, let's go all the way up, man. We got a woman president, vice president.
Vice president.
Yeah.
Woman of color.
We got and you take, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe the commissioner of the WNBA is a melanated woman as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's things and it's breakthroughs that are happening where we're doing it. But I think if we want to continue to see the consistency of that, it's going to lead to a high level of what these guys preached. Yeah. You know what I mean? A high level of
accountability also.
Accountability.
Got to be accountable.
Of unification. A high level of just being able to come together and just understand what you're up against. Yeah. Day in and day out, it's going to be a crawl to a walk to a run. You know what I mean? And that's the transition. Yeah. To try to get to that point. But I think for us sitting back and being cognizant of it, I think we have to be, gracious and love, where we at with the possibilities of where we can go.
There you go.
True.
There you go.
It's
never settling. Never settling.
Yeah, never settling. Still fighting.
Always fighting and trying to go up.
And it is always, possibilities because we have that grit. You know what I mean? We have that fight.
Well, that's what I was saying with him and what he sacrificed. So is it too much to ask for me not to settle? It's not too much to ask for me to settle and keep pushing. No. You know what I'm saying? And off on a little political point just for a second, man, that's why to this day, ever since I turned 18, I vote.
Yeah,
I vote for everything to vote.
Yeah.
And some people say, well, I don't like this candidate. I don't like none of them because they don't look like me and they ain't got my interest at heart most of the time. I say, but it's a lot of people sacrificed, died, and made contributions just so I could walk up there and punch in a thing.
And when you look at it that way, because for me, I'm on the other side, just because I know that it's a selection and not an election.
Right.
But, in the midst of just the 14th Amendment, we could get into, so many different things in regards to, just how it's all laid out, but literally only gives us rights. But when you look at it, like somebody used to always remind me, somebody died for you to read.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So when you take that onus, you know what I mean? Like Coach just mentioned, like somebody sacrificed so much for us just to be able to walk uphill because of what we look like and just put a ballot in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it definitely, if looking at it in that way, everybody should do it.
Everybody should do it.
You know what I mean? Just because of that level of sacrifice that was created.
Can you can't even bring yourself, and I'm saying you as in we.
Yeah.
It was against the law to read.
Yeah.
It was against the law to further
against the
myself
law.
as a person. That's incredible. So for the dude to come out, for Dr. King to come out and make them sacrifices, bro, I gotta step up to the plate and be better. I gotta step up.
But that's why it's no excuse for no kid, adolescent, child, adult. No matter how dark it may get, there's an opportunity.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Pick up a book. Everything is out there for us to be able to have access to be able to accomplish, to be able to do it because of those sacrifices that were made, on our behalf. It's nothing you cannot get accomplished because it's not like we've been withheld from information now.
No.
It's certain information they don't want us to have, but it's
still a fingertip. It's fingertips away.
Right. If you become obsessed with learning or questions or you'll find it.
Yeah.
You'll definitely find it.
I told some of the kids in school the other day, I asked them some questions. They were like, I don't know. I said, we're at a time where you literally got information at your fingertips.
They're walking around with computers in their pockets.
Yeah,
That's what a phone is.
Yes.
It's a pocket computer.
And so you asking me a question? Now I'll help you out with it, but more times than not, I'm gonna tell you look it up. I said, can y'all imagine? Ooh, I'm going back now. You gotta go to the library. You gotta go to the library and look up, and then you got to read it in a book. You see what I'm saying? And I asked him, I said, any of y'all know what the Dewey Decimal System is? Oh yes, sir. We're going way back now. You got to learn all that to go get a book out of the library.
Right.
So I know I'm aging myself real bad, but it's okay.
I just got to say,
it was a word used earlier that I only knew from numbers. So the word was binary. It's being context to something else, which we won't discuss right now.
Right.
I do have to say this about that, and I got in trouble about this a couple of times. I might have misspelled a word in elementary school. Mm-hmm. My teacher would be like, go look it up. So I just said it under my breath one day. I was like, I don't even know how to spell it. Like, how am I going to... Like, I never understood that concept.
But again,
I don't know how to spell the word, but you
math like this. Yeah. And in other words you learn, sound it out.
Listen, they ain't even got that now. If you just go in there and play around, it's gonna spell check and put some more.
That's true.
Come on, man, you got everything.
Like I learned how to spell Wednesday, Wednesday. Conscience, science.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Right. Now you can just type it in.
Again, imagine you wasn't allowed to do that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's come so far, but we got so far to go.
It's for me, someone that reads abundantly. I couldn't imagine.
I love how you talk.
I couldn't.
He's a voracious reader.
I couldn't imagine not being able to pick up a book and say, "Oh, you're not going to be able to do this." Well, let me go look at this, and the things you become intrigued by. Yeah. The things that interest you. It's a lot of stuff, in books. It can be something that's sparked from the TV. Yeah. That gives you a certain level of interest that you want to even know more about. So to know that. Somebody put it on the line for us to say, you go pick up this book.
That's a term that gets misused and overused. That's a real one. Dr. King was a real one.
Yeah, he was.
We talking about that's a real one. Like that's a soldier.
That's a soldier, man.
And the transitional thing with the sports and MLK and the integration. Yes. You know what I mean of different cultures. Different races. Different demographics. It's been a great thing that we now see, in today's, sports. All your four major ones. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We starting to have some people crack the code on the NHL side. Uh-huh. We can look at tennis. We look at, basketball and a high level of guys that he went to bat for, then. And I also want the young generation to understand the vitality of a lot of our melanated leaders in the past. I don't think they really get what's been put on the line to get to this point that we are at today, where you can literally pick up a computer and do the thing that you do. You can walk into a bathroom and you can see your fellow classmate that don't look nothing like you. You can go to school and you can do these different things, in the midst of it that allows, just a kid to really, understand, know what's been put on the line for you to have this freedom or have these rights, should I say. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And with an opportunity to do whatever you decide to do. Yeah. And that's that. So I know there'll be a lot of videos. There'll be some parades.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of things that continue to need to be said. I hope they continue to pump it. They pump it past Monday. You know,
Right.
give us 3-4 days of it.
Yeah.
You know, give us an abundance of time of it. You know, in the midst of doing that.
Yeah. Yep. Listen, I know I ran it by the fellas, and we're gonna try to throw that other segment in there. I'll never forget.
Yes, sir.
You know that when we wrap this up, and it's a segment where we talked about, since we had started out with memories of sports and all that, and I got a lot of people saying, "Man, you had me thinking about this, and I remember this." So we're gonna throw a little segment in there on the end of this when we wrap it up. I just want to remind the brothers right here, and we're just gonna call that I'll never forget.
What to elevate, mental clarity and elevation, and to put you in a great heart space. Each episode that we have, we're going to end the segment by something that we never forget.
Yep.
And I think no matter how long you've been on this earth, 5 years, 10 years, 25, 30, there's memories. There's thousands of memories and things that go through your head daily. Yeah. And we're going to touch on one memory that we'll never forget each and every episode. You know what I mean? And that's we're going to start that segment today. So, Coach, give me something. Give me something you'll never forget.
I'm gonna take y'all way back now, y'all fellas. I don't know if y'all was around.
How far we going back?
Way back. Way back.
Look here, we way back. Look here, y'all.
Was I born yet, Coach? I was born in '78.
Wasn't born yet.
Oh no!
You was born in the 80s.
No,
you were
was
80s
one.
baby.
I'm sorry.
I was born in '78.
Look here.
80s baby.
Hey, my pops was born. He was holding me.
Look here.
He was holding
Look
me.
here. I'm gonna
Yeah,
paint
he
this
walking
picture
around
for
with
you.
Yeah, he walking around with me.
Yeah.
Pops walking around
I'm
with
gonna
me.
paint this picture for y'all. It was '79. I had just got to Tampa Catholic.
79, Coach?
79.
Now, were you at Tampa Catholic or were you housed somewhere else? Tell that story, Coach.
Well, then when they had ninth grade, but the ninth graders didn't go to the main campus over there off of Rome. The ninth graders were over about where that old outlet used to be. It used to be Mary Helper Christian. A lot of people might. The ninth graders used to be on that campus.
Okay.
All right. I came the year after.
Okay.
And we moved to the campus, but we were on trailers on the campus. We were in trailers. We wasn't even on the main campus. We was over about where they got the football field at. All right. So, but anyway, so it was 79. I'm a freshman coming in, playing a little ball, doing my thing.
A little ball, Coach. He was nice. Keep it 100.
I appreciate it.
Keep it 100.
Keep it 100. That's what the shirt say.
Oh, man,
So
you was
listen,
nice, Coach.
and I'm gonna try to. I'll never forget into it. So I get ready. They wouldn't let freshmen play varsity then. That was a rule at the school. Freshmen could not play varsity. So I look at all this stuff. We'll get into that later on down the line. But so I went on to play a little JV. Went on here and tore that up. So I got to go to my first awards banquet, sports banquet. So I'm out there wiping down the ride because I hadn't got my license then. I had a '69 baby blue Ford Falcon.
Where he at right now?
Listen,
For some cheese.
hey man, I should have kept that car. I did,
kept
but
it.
a young fella, you
Yes,
get a
sir.
new car,
Yeah,
you ain't thinking about it now. So I had a '69 baby blue Falcon. Look here, I was
Yes,
going to
sir.
my first awards show, awards banquet, get my awards. So then I had met my wife right now on the track team.
So don't tell me you had the bell bottom.
That was the first date, man. Look here,
flare bottoms. Flare bottoms.
Come on, man.
Maroon.
Listen, I had the corduroy suit on, boy.
Told to me. Told to me.
Ice cold. Corduroy.
So I never forget going to that banquet, picking my girl up. I'm driving, a little 4-cylinder, that thing,
Yes, sir.
like a sewing machine. We going
Yes, sir.
on. I get my little award for the little team MVP. It was just JV, but I never forget that moment because I was like, boy, I'm going big right
Yes.
now. You know what I mean? I never forget that. Long time ago.
What you'll never forget, young fella?
Man, when Coach presented this as a topic, I mean, an abundance of thoughts went through my head.
man.
So I think the first one I want to start off with that I'll never forget. I was a very active kid.
Right.
I mean, when you grow up in the projects, you don't have cable unless you were stealing it from somebody or whatever.
Statute of limitations. Hold on. The statute of limitations might not have run out on that one. You got to relax.
Jones in the cable. You stealing
Jones
from somebody
in the
else.
cable.
Yeah, you didn't have cable. So the only time you watch TV was Saturday morning cartoons
Yeah.
or whatever. But I never forget. I never knew how my grandmother did it. I never asked any questions or none of that. But I remember coming down December 25th, I want to say it was like 1988. So I was like 10 years old. And anybody that don't know, it was something called a big wheel.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And a couple of my homeboys had them the year before. You know, I was a year late, you know. But I come down, and I didn't see none of the other stuff that was under the tree. And I probably had like 3 or 4.
Nothing kids. Caught your eye.
But that big wheel. Now, keep in mind, I was always a bigger kid.
I swear I was just thinking.
Oh, did you fit?
I was just thinking.
I barely fit on it.
If it's 1988, you probably 6'1".
No.
Because I'm doing the math, and I remember him as a kid. I'm like,
man, I walked downstairs, 913 Union Street. I got a big wheel. My cousin got a big wheel. My other cousin. So I literally started this little baby big wheel coat.
Oh, y'all had a bike club, baby.
Man, listen. We hook sliding. You know, we on the big wheel. I'm talking
hook slide.
Hook slide. Start. Yes. I'm this big now. Don't keep in mind. I look like an idiot on the big wheel.
You look like you're 13.
So the most disappointing part of it is, while everybody's still riding their big wheel 6 months later, I done outgrew mine. But I will never forget the big wheel that my grandma bought me.
Yes, so hold on to that.
Listen. Because, boy, that was the coolest thing to have.
Yeah, it is.
And being active was something you can get outdoors, you can ride the big wheel.
Yeah, it is.
Everybody had their big wheel. We going to places we ain't had no business going on these big wheels. We literally was 3-4 miles away from the projects on a big wheel.
Yeah, it is.
This is made out of straight plastic.
Straight plastic.
Did y'all have the one where you could be going and you hit the little thing?
Yes.
And it'll help you get into the hook slide?
Look at how else you going to hook slide.
You know,
right.
We hood kid. We figured out how to do it without that.
Yeah.
Hit the start turning. You know, so I'll never forget the big wheel. Marjorie, love it. Thank you. God bless you, baby. I thank you for the big wheel.
There you go.
So I have one that's kind of not sports related, but my favorite sports related one is, again, I played for the Spartans, and I got a big serving of humble pie when I first got over there.
That was before you put the hand in the dirt, or when you was fastest on the block.
This was years. This was after years of having the hand in the dirt.
So winning championships, you champion a couple chips.
I'm winning chips, but I'm basically,
you're the
I'm just happy to be a starter.
You're the accessory.
Yeah, so I went from wearing number 22 to 70.
Oh, man.
77.
Well, offensive linemen now make $100 million now.
Yeah, but they wasn't back then.
No.
And at the boys club on McDill and Lower, that big field, Thursday nights you have a pep rally.
Right.
The Bantam cheerleaders come out, Pee Wee, JV varsity, and all that. So this one year, I'm at my house. I'm leaving the house. I'm getting ready to walk to the boys club. My grandma, nicest lady in the world, she said, "Are you gonna play this year?" I said, "I don't know, Grandma. We loaded again."
That built a lot of character, though. Trust
me. She
me.
handed me a sandwich. She said, "Baby, you got to figure something out." I'm walking from my house all the way to the boys club. Don't know what I'm gonna do when I get there.
Yeah.
When we get there, we would do special teams first. Just totally spontaneous. I just started a fight. I went and cheap shot at somebody who was kind of standing around while the ball was bouncing. Right. But I just, I called him. We yelling, we going back and forth. Our coach, who was out there smoking a cigarette at the time.
Different day.
It was the 80s. He's smoking a cigarette. Tell us to line it up and do it again. Same thing. The ball bouncing. We about to down it. I catch somebody else just standing around. Bam. Oh, you must feel like hitting somebody today. So we started doing the Oklahoma drill.
Yeah.
So just so happened the guy
paint the picture of the Oklahoma drill, which is now banned.
Is that banned? You can't do the Oklahoma drill?
I think you can in youth sports no more.
2 guys laying helmet to helmet.
Anything possible. Hell, I don't think you can play dodgeball.
Yeah, you can't play dodgeball.
Yeah.
You lay back to back, you get up, you just running each other full speed. So the guy who was the starting tight end, you can kind of tell he wasn't feeling it no more.
Yeah.
So our coach puts a cigarette out. He flicked it.
Yeah.
I know you ain't over here acting like that. Don't worry about it. So that's all he says. From that moment on, I was the starting tight end and outside linebacker. So we go on. We beat your favorite Peter Warwick them in the Super Bowl at Hillsborough.
Why gotta be my favorite? I'm from Tampa.
You a hater like that. You a hater like that.
I don't rock with none of that.
So the big thing at the boys club was getting a second trophy. So I'm like, okay, I started this year. I had a pretty good year. Sitting back there eating my Leslie Bakery. If you play for the club, the food catered by Leslie Bakery. Sitting back there eating. I'm stuffing my face. They called my name out for a second trophy, most improved. Trying to play cool. I got my linen Miami Vice suit on. Had bought it from Burdines.
Burdines.
Yeah, Burdines.
Bad boy.
With
Burdines.
next to Montgomery Ward.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Burdines. I'm up, Jones. It seems like it's a 200-mile walk. I'm trying to get there so quick. I slip. You hit somebody's chair.
Yeah.
Almost fall. Everybody laughing. I won't give a damn. I see that second trophy. That's all I worry about.
Let me get that.
I'll never forget that most improved player trophy.
Fail, face first.
I'm an athlete.
Wow.
I caught myself.
Listen, you ain't keeping it 100 right now.
Caught myself.
You caught yourself.
So I never forget when I got my first and only second trophy playing for the sport.
That's all right.
Never forget it.
Hey, man.
Most improved, which I didn't realize as an adult until I got older. That's kind of backhanded compliment.
No.
Like you used to be horrible, but you all right now.
Hey,
like
you sweated for it. You sweated for it.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
That's it, bro.
Definitely something that needs to have character building.
Yeah, man.
Had to learn it, that way, and that's great, man. Great stories, man. And we'll continue to do that. Please don't forget to like the video, leave a comment with topics that you want to hear next. Thank you for listening to 99 and Good Enough. Subscribe to the channel. We did a great job this week.
Yes.
We got over 100 subscribers in 4 days. We're trying to get to 1K before February 1st. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the Instagram, 99 and Good Enough.
Make it happen.
Where we keep it 100.
Yes, sir.
We out.
We out.